Oh, the White House has been thought of as political, but really any film is political. I mean, whether you want to think about it that way or not, that's another question. But the White House, in a deepest sense, is political. And I keep wondering, because most people don't really know that the White House was what the master's house in the South was called. The owner, the plantation owner, lived in the White House. And that was people's relationship to the White House. So it's no surprise that that strain of racism that of our history is still there, that George Little Bush, President 43, is in the White House now, you know. Well, the White House, right off the bat, is about living in a society that is closed off to the rest of the world, living in a culture that looks nice, and you can look around the Vermont landscape at these sort of obese Victorian houses. They have windows, but I don't think it really makes very much difference. And what I've enjoyed in some of the prints and even some of the screenings of the White House, that people didn't really notice that the house didn't have windows or doors because it seemed so right. Looking out, looking in, it's really what you see, or really the paranoid fears that people live with. I've heard that Vermont has the highest number of panic attacks per capita than any state in the Union, and you think, well, that level of fear that people live with must be something that's very interior, so that the bombing, that was Iraqi bomb site footage, that's going on the outside is just that world that continues to threaten people living in White Houses. Well, I mean, I remember 20 years ago, or more than that now, reading of models of the climate and temperatures, and there was talk then of temperatures in Chicago being 135 degrees in 2010, I think, and that, you know, was some terrifying future. But here we are, we're there, and the flooding that's going on next week, in fact, there may be heavy flooding here in Vermont. So that the flooding was just one more like metaphor for what lies ahead in terms of change, really. Well, the line, maybe the only comprehensible line in the piece, or originally, was I've often wanted to return to where I lived to see where it is I might still be, or something to that effect. And so it's very important to try to understand the changes in your life and in what I've lived with that seem positive for a future, and that you really have to take a look at where you've been to understand those changes and try to move in a way that you're not going to repeat a lot of the serious mistakes.